Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're returning, welcome back. My name is Kelly and this is Yaya Simple Living. So I know that everybody is, or a lot of people, are using fresh milled flour these days because it leaves the nutrients in the flour, but it's also kind of a learning curve to learn how to make it. So today we are going to test out bread using fresh milled flour and then another loaf using the store-bought flour to see which one is better. We're going to compare the texture, we're going to compare the rise on it. They're both going to be enhanced with vital wheat gluten, and I'm going to do everything exactly the same on each recipe. The only difference is going to be one is going to be used fresh milled flour, the other one's going to be using store-bought flour. So leave me a comment down below and tell me which one you think is going to win this contest, and let's get baking. Okay, so we're going to make our whole wheat sandwich bread, excuse me, with fresh milled flour. So I have here a combination of hard red wheat and hard white wheat. So we need 360 grams of flour. Now you can do a combination of store-bought flour and fresh milled. I'm just doing fresh milled today. And perfect. What I did was I measured my wheat berries before I put them through the grain mill, so I knew how much I would have. Okay, so I have my 360 grams. To that, I am going to add, let's see, what am I going to add? I'm going to add 2 tablespoons or 14 grams of vital wheat gluten. And the reason I add this is because the fresh milled flour has all of the wheat and the bran and germ still on it, and those kind of, when you put them through the mill, they get sharp and they kind of cut the gluten strands, or they can cut the gluten strands. So I just like to add a little bit of vital wheat gluten to kind of offset that, so that my loaf doesn't, it'll come out with a good rise and it'll be soft. To that, I'm going to add 1 1/4 cup or 295 milliliters of water. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons or 28 grams of unsalted butter. I'm going to add 1 1/2 teaspoons or 9 grams of salt. And let me grab my honey. I forgot to get my honey. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons or 25 grams of honey. No, I'm going to measure it in grams. Okay. And then I'm going to put this on my mixer and I'm going to let it run until everything is all incorporated, and I'm going to let it sit for about 30 minutes because the fresh milled flour kind of absorbs water differently, absorbs liquid differently, so I don't want to put my yeast in yet. I want to let the flour kind of absorb some liquid. So I'm going to put this on my mixer. Let me move this so you guys can see. Move my mixer over. Okay, hopefully you guys can see that. So I'm going to put this on and start mixing it. I'm going to scrape down the sides. I probably should have done this with my paddle attachment before. Actually, maybe I'll switch that out and do my paddle attachment to get it incorporated and then switch to my dough hook. And I just want to mix it until everything's incorporated. Okay, and now I'm just going to let it sit. I'm going to cover it and let it sit for about 30 minutes to let the flour absorb some of that liquid. And then it also makes your kneading time later a little bit less. Okay, let me get something to cover this up. So about 30 minutes, we'll be back. Okay, it has been 30 minutes. We've let our dough rest. We're going to add our yeast now. I'm using instant yeast, so I don't have to bloom it first. All right, so we've got our yeast all incorporated. I want to show you guys the different, I guess I'll do it with my right hand so that I'm not blocking. So you can see that it's already pretty stretchy. It still is ripping though, but just letting our flour and water sit like that for a little bit has really helped the gluten already start to develop. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to let this knead for about 6 to 10 minutes, and then we'll be back. Okay guys, we are back. My hand's wet here. Let's see how we're doing. Okay, look at that. It is kind of a wet dough, but that's okay. Oops. Let's check out our window. Oh, look at that. Perfect. All right, so we are going to put this into an oiled bowl. And we're going to cover it up. Let me wipe off my hands here real quick. We're going to cover up our bowl and we are going to let this rise. I'm going to go ahead. I have a proofing setting on my oven, so I'm going to go ahead and put it in there. It's going to rise for about an hour to an hour and a half until double in size. So as soon as it's risen, I'll be back. Okay, we're going to grease our loaf pan. And we're going to get our bread out of the oven where it's been proofing. It has doubled in size. Ooh, look at that beauty. All right, let me put some flour on my workbench here. And then we'll shape our loaf and we'll get it back. Maybe a little too much flour. All right, let me make sure you guys can see good. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to knock all the air out of it and shape it into a loaf. And I want some tension in it because that's going to help us get better oven spring. And put it in our loaf pan. And then we're going to let this rise until it comes about even to the top of our pan. So I'm going to cover it with some plastic wrap and we're going to put it back in the oven on the proof setting until it comes to about the top, and then we're going to bake it. So I'll be back when it's ready to go in the oven to bake. All right, so we're going to make our bread, this loaf of bread, with store-bought whole wheat flour to see which one is different. And I want to do everything exactly the same between the store-bought and the fresh milled. So 360 grams of flour is going to go in here. And I'm measuring everything just to make sure that everything is equal. Okay. To that, we are going to add 14 grams of vital wheat gluten, which I've already measured out. Stick into my container here. Oop. Let me just make a mess here. Okay. And we're going to add 9 grams of salt. We're going to add 28 grams of melted butter. And we're going to add 295 milliliters of warm water. Okay. Let me put this on our mixer. Get rid of my scale here. Move my flour. And move this closer so you guys can see. So I added everything just like I did last time except for the yeast, because I don't want that to be different either. Even though this doesn't absorb, this flour does not absorb flour as differently as fresh milled, but we want everything to be exactly the same. So I'm going to mix this up until everything is incorporated. And you can see that it's already absorbing the water differently than the fresh milled flour did. Okay, so we're going to let this sit for about 30 minutes. Let that gluten kind of start to form. See how it's just really rough right now? We're going to cover it up and let it sit for 30 minutes, and then we'll come back and we will add our yeast. Okay, I hope you guys can hear me over the mixer. So our bread, this is with our fresh milled flour. I'm going to save this for our other loaf. It is nice and risen. We are going to brush it with an egg wash gently. Okay, because we don't want to lose any of the air. And then, because your girl is fancy, we're going to sprinkle some toppings on it. I have a mixture of sunflower seeds, oats, and sesame seeds. Because, you know, I wore my fancy pants today. So we may as well add some lovely toppings and make this really look like an artisan loaf. Ah, gorgeous. Okay, and then we're going to bake this at 375 for, hold on, 35 to 40 minutes. We're going to carefully put it into our preheated oven. Okay, and then I've got my dough with the store-bought whole wheat flour kneading now. I added the yeast. I'm kneading it now. It'll knead for 6 minutes, and then I'll bring you guys back to see how that's doing. We'll get that into the oiled bowl and get that rising so that when this comes out of the oven, that can go into the oven. Okay, now we're done kneading. Let's see how our dough is. Ooh, soft, a little tacky, which is good. Can you see light? Ooh, we're getting a window pane. All right, good. So we're going to roll this into a ball. Let me move my mixer for real this time. Oop. And grab my bowl, which has been oiled. All right. And then we're going to cover this up, and we are going to let it rise for about an hour to an hour and a half until it has doubled in size. And then we will put it in our loaf pan. In the meantime, our fresh milled flour loaf is baking. Okay, our fresh milled flour bread is done. I measured the temperature, the internal temperature, and it's a 205, so it is done. And let's take that out. Ooh, look at that. Beautiful. All right, we're going to leave it in the pan for just a few minutes, and then we'll take it out and we'll cool it on a wire rack. We're still waiting on our store-bought flour bread to rise, so we'll keep waiting on that. All right, so our store-bought flour whole wheat bread has risen. And we're going to do the same thing we did with our fresh milled flour. We're going to brush some egg wash on top. And sprinkle it with our mixture of oats, rolled oats, sesame seeds, and sunflower seeds. Because again, girl's fancy. bougie, fancy. I don't know. What do the kids these days say? They say bougie. Just trying to use it all up here. Okay. Good, good, good. All right, and then this is going to go in 375 for 35 to 40 minutes until the internal temperature is between 190 and 205. So we shall be back. Okay, our last loaf of bread is done. Look at that. You guys see it okay? Let's see. Yep. Gorgeous. All right, so we are going to, first I'm going to separate it from the sides of the tin. Okay, we're going to take this out. We're going to cool it, and then we will slice into both of them. So stay tuned. Okay, sorry, my battery died. So this is the loaf that we made with fresh milled flour. I used half hard red wheat and half hard white wheat. And then this is the loaf we made with store-bought flour, and I used Prairie Gold from Wheat, Montana. So I cooked them both at the same temperature for the same time. They both had the same rise time. And it looks like the fresh milled flour got a little bit darker than the store-bought. And it also looks like it's got a little bit of a higher rise on it. So let's cut these open and see what the crumb looks like. So we'll do our fresh milled flour first. And look how soft and squishy that is. Beautiful. Look at that. Bounces right back. That is really nice. And let's see how our store-bought flour is. Our store-bought flour, a little denser, still soft, bounces back, but the real key is going to be the taste. So let me get some butter and try this out. The fresh milled flour first. Oh, ooh, look at that. And then I'm going to put some butter on the store-bought. It looks like the store-bought is a little lighter on the crumb also. A little lighter color in the crumb. Okay, so let me turn this around here. Okay, I'm going to turn this around. I'm going to taste it. So I'm going to taste our fresh milled flour first. It's soft. It's got a nice chew. And it's got like a really nutty flavor. I like this. Okay, I'm not going to take a second bite even though I want to. And now we'll try our store-bought flour. It doesn't taste as nutty as the fresh milled. Actually, it's good, but it definitely has more of that, I don't want to say cardboard, but I mean, it's not as nice as the fresh milled flour, I don't think. All right, guys. So there you have it. Is fresh milled flour worth the hype? In my opinion, 2 thumbs up. It is worth the hype because that is some good bread. They're both good, don't get me wrong. But I just think that the fresh milled flour has more of a depth of flavor. It's nuttier, it's soft, it feels softer to me. So my vote is for the fresh milled flour. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider giving it a thumbs up in YouTube to let the algorithm know that you enjoyed it. Please consider subscribing to my channel so that you can see what I have coming down next, what my next video is. We have an upcoming video of 5 different ways to use rotisserie chicken, 5 easy weeknight meals using rotisserie chicken, which is the grocery store hack. And don't forget to hit that bell notification so you get notified every time I upload a new video. And please share this video with your friends and encourage them to subscribe. So I will see you guys on the next video. Bye.